Welcome to the home of the DIY movement, where we build stuff and paint things.
All right, y'all, welcome back. Today is Way Back Wednesday, man, and as promised, we got a new video for you guys today talking about Billie Jean 64. So we got a picture here of Bobby taking a nap on the rotisserie. I guess this was the day that we decided to go ahead and put the car on the rotisserie. What's special about Billie Jean 64 is it was only one of two cars that customer people, I guess, paid to have work done. So basically all the stuff that you guys see on the channel, it's either my personal stuff or my friend's personal stuff. But we had the owner here. I really don't remember how it went down. Maybe he can comment if he'd like. I had to meet him through YouTube, but he asked me a few times and I was like, nah, man, this is too much work. I wanted, too much work. And I said, man, I could teach you. Like, if you watch the channel, I could teach you. He said, man, he doesn't have the time. He's got a lot of work. He works long hours and stuff. He just doesn't have the time, but he really wants it done. So he finally convinced me and my partner to go over to his house and look at the car. And once we looked at it, we're like, man, it's not that bad. It's not that bad, man. It's actually a really solid car, man. It is a nice car. So I said, okay, let's figure out some money, and I'll let you know. So it was kind of a three-stage build. The first stage was the rolling chassis. I didn't really know the guy at the time, so I said, hey, let's get our feet wet first. Let's take it slow here, and let's do the frame first. If you like how that goes and you like the work, then we can talk about the car, but for now let's just focus on the frame. So I picked up the frame from his house, I think, and all the parts, and had to order some parts, so everything went smooth. We put the frame together probably in like a weekend or two, and it was done. So he was real happy with it. Had all new stuff. You guys see the tubular control arms there. I'm not a huge fan of those. That's what he had. That's what he wanted to use. So we used it. They do work. There's nothing wrong with them. They do work. It's just personal preference, but just a powder coated frame that, I had powder coated, sandblast powder coated, and then miscellaneous stuff, and assembled the rear end, made it a roller, stock roller, and he was real happy with it, man. So we moved on to the body of the car. The first order of business was the firewall. He wanted, shaved. This was in the early days of shaving the firewall stuff. If you guys are interested in these plates, they're available on the website. I always keep them in stock. There's options: wiper, no wiper, steering boot, no steering boot. There's just options on the website. I'm gonna suggest you guys check out the website. And if you're interested in firewall kit, I usually keep them in stock, and I usually have about a 2-day turnaround, just depending on the week. But anyways, he wanted to shave firewall. The car needed some lower quarter patches. It needed a little bit of gap work and a paint job. And he was set on black, and I was like, man, it's doable. It's doable, but black is a high maintenance color. Tried to talk him out of it, but he was hell bent on it, so we painted it black. Here we are, lower quarter patches he provided, I believe. And I think it had both sides, and then the trunk was kind of close on the passengers, and both sides, I think. Just sliced them and opened them up a little bit, and then welded the top of quarter panels. I believe Bobby did that in combination with, I think, my friend Rocket Man. But like I say, man, original trunk. It did have a repop hood. It had original doors, and it was an original convertible with a new floor. It also got a new center trunk pan. Easy way to do these, which we're going to be doing on the 63 that I have, because it came with a new center trunk pan, is just drill some holes and plug weld it in place. And then, you know, you can run seam sealer on the bottom if you like, you know, or not, but it's the trunk. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not that important, but it is important. So anyways, lower quarter patches, center trunk pan, firewall, and some gapping on the trunk to quarter panel gaps. That was pretty much the extent of the metalwork on this car. I think there might have been some lower fender patches in there too, if I remember right. Next up was to take the shell down to bare metal without, we use mechanically, we use those conditioning discs you guys see on the channel. I'm a big fan of those. That combined with, you know, 60 grit or 80 grit on any type of rotary tool or DA will get the job done pretty quick. I'm not a fan of sandblasting cars, especially long cars. So I like to take things down mechanically. I know you see all the time people sandblasting cars. I mean, maybe they get away with it. Haven't had any luck. Maybe the sandblaster I use don't know what he's doing. I don't know, but I use mobile sandblast for structural things like floorboards, door jambs, firewall, you know, around the doors, trunk gutters, things like that. But like flat panels, quarter panels, doors, hoods, trunks, no way, Jose. Here is the floor pans after sandblast. I think it takes the sandblaster maybe an hour to do it, and then it takes like 4 hours to blow it all out. It makes such a huge mess, and it gets everywhere. And at the end of the day, you really don't get all of it out. It's still going to be in there. I think what's important is if you can access, like take the access panels out where the quarter windows go, and also in the quarter panel, front and rear if you can, vacuum it out. Because what's going to happen is the sand is going to sit in there if you don't get it out. You can't really blow it out. You need to vacuum it out. It's going to sit in there. And then if it ever gets wet, it's going to fester. It's going to turn into moist sand, mud, and fester. And then it's going to turn into eventually corroding and bubbling paint is what's going to happen. So you got to take your time, blow it all out, vacuum it out if you can. After that, it was the secret sauce, SPI epoxy inside and out. New floor pans looking good, and we're moving right along. I believe we did a Raptor on this one. Like I say, he was hell bent on black, triple black top interior and car. I remember when he brought it over, man, it had some turquoise seats, and I was like, man, these turquoise seats look really good up against this black paint. And he was like, no, you know, I don't want that. And I was like, man, are you sure, man? This looks really nice. No. And I was like, okay. And then I remember seeing him at an event, I guess, something like that, or a park or something. And he was like, man, you know, I remember you told me about them turquoise seats, man. I kind of wish I would have done them. Like, man, you know, it's not too late. It's not too late, but it was a nice color combination. I'm actually considering that on the 63, black with turquoise interior, but I don't know. We'll see. Here we are with the black Raptor. Actually, on this day, I learned he bought a kit of black Raptor, and then it wasn't enough. And I think we needed like one more bottle or something like that just to finish up on the inside. If I remember right, the inside under the back seat, so rear floor pan. And I had like a bottle of the tintable Raptor, so I was like, oh well, we could just put black base coat in the tintable Raptor and get black Raptor. And it's close, but it's not the same as buying black Raptor. So learned that on that day. But so black Raptor underneath, black Raptor on the inside, and a little bit of really dark charcoal Raptor, but it's under the seat. Couldn't really tell. Plus I gave him the bottle for free if I remember right. Repop skirts on some quarter patches, repop quarter patches. Man, surprisingly a good fit. These things are so hit and miss. I wish I had an explanation, man. I don't know if it's manufacturer. I personally think all these parts are made in the same place, but I can't prove that theory. But these things fit really nice, man. I know Bobby's fit pretty nice. The 68 skirts fit pretty nice. The 61 skirts needed a little bit of work, but not too much. So it's really hit or miss, man. But these Repop skirts fit on there pretty good. SPI black base coat and Euro clear coat. If I remember right, we did use Euro. And overall, pretty nice results, man. I forgot how many hours we put in this thing as far as blocking. It was a 2-man project. And I know I have the spreadsheet somewhere. I've been keeping spreadsheets on things for years, but I'm not going to go digging around for it. Overall, the paint job came out pretty nice. I don't think we had to repaint anything, but we did spend a lot of time blocking, and then we spent a lot of time wet sanding and buffing. Black is where, you know, it's hard to do. It's easy to spray. It's hard to maintain. It's easy to spray. It's hard to buff. It's hard to maintain. Because basically, if there's any dust on the car and you go to wipe it with a wet rag, you're scratching the paint. Could be like on a micro level, but you're scratching the paint. You do that over and over, and you end up with swirls. Yeah, so like I said, things might be a little bit out of order. I had the 64 and the 61. And then we had Billie Jean in there getting ready to go on the frame. What's funny about saying 61, man, is we had a comment on the on the budget video for the 63 that I wanted to address, man. Some guy was saying that 63s and 64s are the Honda Civics of low riding. And I wouldn't call them Honda Civics of low riding. I would say they're the most popular by far. I know that for a fact. I mean, you can go to any show and see that, but I know that for a fact based on the firewall kits that I sell. But that doesn't make them any less nicer or any less meaningful or any less special to the owner. So trying to say that the 61 and under is a better car to have. I mean, it define better, you know, everybody's definition of better is different. I think that's for people who are trying to impress other people with the car. Nobody said that 61s or 60s or 59s are better than a 64. It's just what the person likes, man. So don't understand the logic behind that comment, but here we are talking about the 61 that I had on the channel. That whole thing is documented. Obviously, the person who made that comment is not a usual watcher, or he would know that we've built pretty much all those cars on the channel except the 58. Anyways, back to Billie Jean, man, on the rotisserie. This rotisserie has seen some work, man, and it's about to see some more work here later on this summer, but getting ready to put it on the frame. This is probably the most nerve-wracking part of building a car for me. Is when you take a painted car, maybe buffed, maybe if you buff it on the rotisserie, so you have a polished out car, and you're taking it off the rotisserie to put it on the frame, man. So many things can go wrong in this stage after all your hard work. So it's by far the most nerve-wracking. I can imagine trying to do it without a lift, like on some cinder blocks, man. It's crazy, but here we are getting ready to set it on the frame. So the agreement or the objective was we build the frame first, take it to his house, paint the car. When the car's ready, pick up the frame from his house, or he can deliver it. If I remember right, I don't know. And then set the body on the frame, and then he takes the painted, you know, roller or painted car, you know, back home. So that's pretty much how we worked it out. Here is a picture the day before and the day of. The car leaving. I remember the day before, man, me and Johnny stayed in the shop till 11 o'clock at night, spot polishing little areas that we may have missed and going over it with the swirl remover stuff. But we got it looking pretty good, man. He picked it up like this, no engine, no drivetrain, basically a painted, you know, shell. And that was pretty much the end of our agreement. I fulfilled the agreement we had, and he paid, and everybody's happy. And then he contacted me again, I don't know, probably several months later. Could have been a year, I really don't remember. He had done some work on it. just assembling stuff like that. But you know, he's, like I say, he's a busy guy. Really didn't have the time, so he asked if we can do some more work on it. He had put the engine in, I believe it was a Crate 350 with a, I don't know, I think a 700R. I'm not sure. Maybe he can comment. But anyways, he kind of wanted us to kind of tighten up some loose ends. So we did the exhaust, MagnaFlow kit, all that's on video. We put the glass in for him, and other minor assembly stuff. Yeah, we wired it. We did the glass. We did the exhaust. I forgot. Other minor stuff. Basically, we got it running. I don't think it was fully drivable yet, but I think we did the brakes. Just kind of basically wrapped it up, minus the convertible top and minus some interior ins and outs. And then at a later date, he brought me the hood to paint because that was part of the paint job. So, you know, at the end of the day, man, we delivered. Triple black 64. He still has it. He drives it around. I've seen it since then, and it's held up pretty nice. Looks good on the hubcaps right there, man. It's got me thinking maybe go black on the 63. I don't know yet. We're still quite a ways away from that. But man, Will, I hope you like this little video we threw together, man, for the Way Back Wednesday. I hope you guys watching enjoyed this video. And we're going to keep it moving, man. So y'all stay tuned for the next one. And thanks for watching.